Hello, everyone. This is the Fiendish Dr. Phil.
Hey, Spooks fans, it's the late Dr. Lady of the coincidentally named Late Dr. Lady Show. And you're listening to Gruesome Herzog, the voice of horror.
Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Redfield, and you're listening to Gruesome Herzog, the voice of horror.
Wow. So what are you working on right now?
What am I working on now? I'm winding down a brand new play, which will hopefully go to Broadway, called Ether Dome. And it is about medical research, the first time ether was introduced as an anesthetic. So I have created some of the surgeries that went into that. There was a woman who had a nasty infected gangrenous arm that they amputated. This guy had this gigantic boil on his neck that they lanced and stuff. So I've done those.
That sounds very grand guignol.
Yeah, it really is. It really was.
Do people actually, can people see that from, when it's on stage in the back of the audience?
Yeah, they do. And,
do you have to make like a neck boil the size of a bowling ball so the back row can see it?
Well, it's more the size of a tennis ball because it was in the smaller theater. So but it did okay.
Oh,
and you have to put the channels and stuff in it and rig it so when they cut into it and they squeeze it, the blood oozes out and all of that kind of stuff.
Oh my God.
So we did that, and we've submitted to the Playhouse for me to direct and design an epic production of Frankenstein, which looks like it's going to get green-lighted, and we'll be mounting it a year from now. So it's going to take us a year to build it all and do the creature and everything like that. But I want it to be really epic. It's the script. It's the Broadway script that only lasted one night on Broadway. That John Carradine actually played the blind hermit in, and it's actually not bad. It's just that the ending. I know why it only lasted one night. At the end, everything goes up in flames. It all burnt down.
Well, there goes your venue for the next night.
Right. One night only.
We can only put it on once at each theater, because at the end we burn the theater down.
Oh, jeez.
So we have to figure out how to make the thing explode without really making it explode and ticking off the fire marshals and stuff. So that if it goes on in a couple weeks, then that's going to be occupying my life for the next year. And on the back burner, this Frankenstein thing is what we're really focusing on. And I got word today the Prague Shakespeare Festival is coming to Houston to do a production of Richard III, and they want me to create his hunchback and the severed head of the guy that he beheads. So it looks like next year's going to be a real big theater year for us.
Congratulations,
well, that
Phil.
sounds good. Yeah, and there's no worthier cause than Frankenstein.
I know, and this one's great because I'm going to I'm doing kind of the flathead design, but really jigsaw puzzled. And then as he starts, he'll never completely heal because he was dead flesh anyway, but his hair will grow back and everything. And by the end of the play, he'll start to look like Dr. Frankenstein, and Dr. Frankenstein will have degraded to start to look like the creature. So you've got this kind of staging thing where it's almost a mirror image fighting itself at the end, and that's what I want to do with it. And production design, we're really looking heavily at Bernie Wrightson's illustrations for a lot of the lab stuff and things like that.
Very cool. Can't go wrong there.
Yeah, so but that's as far as I've gotten until they tell me I can do it. And then, watch out, we're going to start building and really make it fantastic.
So at the moment you're doing that's down the line. What you're doing first is the Ether Dome, and what's the other one? What's it actually called?
Richard III, the Shakespeare show, which I'm just doing for supplies. Because it's Richard III. It's the evil hunchback king cutting people's heads off. Come on, you got to do that.
Yeah, right.
So did you like show up on the stage going, yeah, Mr. Head of the Shakespeare troupe there, you got any use for a Sasquatch costume? I got a really good one that we could...
Well, kind of sort of what happened was the director's still in Prague, and he emailed me and he said he wanted to show Richard without his shirt on with the hump, but he wants him to have a hairy back like a boar, because Richard's standard was the boar. So I'll get some use out of that.
It'll look a little bit like the Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell costume, maybe.
Right. Oh, speaking of that, last year ago, we went to Whitby, England, to world premiere Renfield the Undead at the Whitby Pavilion, which was the theater where Bram Stoker actually wrote Dracula in. And they were doing the Hammer Film Festival, and Shane Bryant was one of the guests.
How cool is that?
And I go into the Hammer Hall of Fame, and there's my Hell Monster and Kiwi Kingston Evil of Frankenstein bust. You had finished the Evil of Frankenstein, and I had finished the Hell Monster under glass in this museum.
You know, that sounds familiar. That I was going to say rings a bell, and then I thought that would open the possibility of too many puns, so I decided to just go with sounds familiar. That sounds familiar. Yeah, they have some other... Don't they have some other stuff that I worked on?
Yeah, your Plague of the Zombies.
Okay, yeah.
That stuff was all there. But that was very cool, and I got pictures of me with Shane Bryant in front of the Frankenstein heads.
Awesome.
And if we get to make Renfield 2, he actually has expressed interest in playing Professor Van Helsing for us, which would be fantastic.
Oh, how great would that be?
Yeah, because I wrote it as a stage play. The stage play is called Renfield the Dracula play, and it's about Bram Stoker writing the book while he's managing the theater, and he's stumped for ideas, so he goes out and kidnaps a real vampire, and it just happens to be Renfield who's survived, and he's turned into this vampire. So Renfield tells him his life story with Dracula, and that's how Bram Stoker writes the book. Premise.
Are there any Sasquatches in it? Too many problems, too many flies in the embalming fluid. Between we knew Laura wasn't going to be able to get off work early, which traditionally she's gotten off a couple hours early every day that we were open. She wasn't able to do that this year because the place where she works changed their whole system around, and everybody's having to work overtime. And the big change was on October 1st. So it was kind of a coincidence. That and a lot of health problems for the older generation of surviving relatives. Boy, we have 4 of them that it's just sad and scary, and you just don't know what's going to happen next, But everybody's sort of tied up with that, and just couldn't pull it together this year. So
are you going to do anything? Are you going to do anything for your birthday?
No, what I'm gonna do is just go in stasis until November 1st, I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna have myself, cryonically frozen until November 1st or something, and just skip the whole. No, it's sad. It's depressing. I get phone calls and emails and people knocking on the door every day, and are you open? And having to tell them no, and then it's exponentially depressing when they insist on knowing exactly why, and you have to tell them all the reasons, and having to relive the negativity a million times over and keep telling everybody no, and here's the reasons why, and then you just make yourself sad all over again.
Well, but you know what? Renfield comes out October 25th. You can watch it, and I guarantee you there's some laughs in there.
Now, I could watch it where?
On your DVD player.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like a screening or something.
No, we've already done that. We screened it at the World Fest.
Well, not at my house, you haven't.
Wait, October 26th. It'll screen there.
All right.
It's a great film, Dr. Lady.
Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah.
He reviewed it. Yeah, he reviewed it.
Oh, cool. Definitely need to see that. We are still working on the Late Dr. Lady Show.
Awesome.
And is it all right if I mention my website?
You go ahead and do what you want.
Tell everybody in the universe, please check out my online digs at www.drladiesunnecessarylylongtitledwebsite.com. That's DRLADYSUNNECESSARILYLONGTITLEDWEBSITE.com.
I was on there today. It's pretty cool.
You know what? Come on, that was pretty good on my part, don't you think? I wasn't even using a cheat sheet. That was pretty good on my part.
Well, considering
that needs to be preserved for future generations that I was able to do that once.
You resisted getting a computer for a bazillion years, so I think it's fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad you like the site. But that's where people can see our masks and DVDs of the Late Dr. Lady Show and our soundtrack CDs and all kinds of ridiculously cool things like that. And they can see the Late Dr. Lady Show on a website called The Vortex.
Uh-huh.
Phil, I bet you're familiar with them.
Vaguely. I really am out of the loop.
Yeah, I know the feeling. But tell everybody, look for The Vortex. That's with two X's, VORTEXX. The Vortex is an all horror hosts all the time channel.
I think Melissa knows them better than I do.
They're awesomely cool people. You got Sluggo and Angel Blue Eyes and Dr. Sick and the Crimson Executioner and whoever else I've just forgotten and is going to be very hurt when they hear that I mentioned those four and didn't mention them, so I hope they never hear this. But I hope those four stick with it and do hear it, and super talented and cool and nice and creative, funny people all. So thumbs up for The Vortex.
Cool. Sounds awesome.
You know, I must say one thing. I'm kind of like on vacation, just listening to you two talk, so I don't have to. But
right.
I do want to ask a question to Dr. Lady. The listeners who is unaware of Dr. Lady in this area, do you want to talk a little bit about some of your author and some of the stuff you've written, and talk about some of the masks that you made in certain movies?
Well, I can. I came out with the world's first collector's mask guide book, Dr. Lady's Collector's Guide to Movie and TV Monster Masks. And some of Dr. Phil's works are featured in there, by the way.
Yeah, well, Phil, I want Dr. Phil to mention some of his work too as well. But go ahead.
That's actually out of print now. Still, but if people check on the website, they can see I'm still selling my book, Extreme Mask Making, a how-to guide for humans, and my comic book, which is Hassle Castle.
Cool.
And still making the masks busily. You can see all those on the website. As far as movies, haven't done very many movies. Had a ton of masks in Zombie-San and Slave Girls from Beyond Infinity and Saturday the 14th Strikes Back and a bunch of TV shows. Haven't been involved with any movies in ages. I think the last time an actual movie that played theaters used one of my masks, I think, was Casper, the first Casper movie, the big movie.
Yep.
There's just in that Halloween party scene, one of the kids is wearing a mask that I made, and that's my big claim to fame right there with Casper.
Now, was one of the TV shows Life Goes On?
Yes.
All right.
In a Halloween episode, a Dr. Lady Demon Skull mask turned up in there.
Interesting.
If you watched their Halloween episode.
Yep. Nice. Well, yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put your website link on the interview so they can click right to it and they can check out.
Well, that'll be good. That way they won't have to write it down from me spelling it out a couple of minutes ago. Probably just as well.
Dr. Phil. You
Yeah.
want to give listeners some of the creatures that you've designed? that they're unaware of?
Well, the collector's bus, I actually got into collector's bus because of Dr. Lady. He encouraged me to do it, and the first one I did was Captive Wild Woman. I've done...
I still have mine, by the way.
Awesome.
I have mine after all these years.
I'm not doing too many anymore. When Hurricane Ike hit, we lost the studio, so a lot of those molds went away in the hurricane. But this week, a guy had contacted me to possibly get back into it, and he wants a Christopher Lee bust done in a certain pose from the Jess Franco film. So, if he comes through with his financing, then I'll be doing that one. But I haven't, and I'm thinking I might do one of the Boggy Creek monster. But that would be projects for next summer or something.
Sounds like you probably already have a mold on that one, don't you?
Well, I just have the prosthetics and the teeth. I don't really have enough to do it as a mask, so I'd have to sculpt it, and I'd really want to sculpt it in a ferocious snarl, which you don't really get to see that much in the movies. So, but there's been some people that have expressed interest in that. So, from the Halloween Mask Association guys. So I'm thinking about maybe that, but it just depends upon what's going on around here, if I can do it or not.
By the way, that HMA site is being revamped, and I know that wasn't a Dracula reference. It's being upgraded, updated, redone around the end of the month, and you'll see I'm doing some new content for them.
Awesome.
Work on that.
I was the first artist to sculpt for them way back in their very early days.
Yeah, you were. And which piece was it?
It was your favorite, the Michael Myers.
Okay. Because God knows there aren't enough Michael Myers masks.
Yeah, what do you think with those guys? What's the first thing they're going to ask for? They want you to do a Michael Myers. I mean, that's the first thing out of their mouth. And
well, the HMA really isn't about Michael Myers anymore. You're right. I'd kind of forgotten it ever was. I think when they started it, they just put the word Halloween in there, and it drew all the guys who were just Myers fanatics. And now they've kind of drifted off onto their own website, and the HMA is all about, all the different, all kinds of masks, really, Topstones and Don Posts and just everything. Independent artist masks, but I'd kind of forgotten that. But I guess when I first heard of that HMA site, they were kind of they had a reputation of being mostly Myers themed, but not so much anymore. Kind of got away from that.
I did that Evil Dead was done for them. Not Evil Ed. Evil Ed.
Oh yeah, I think I painted a couple of those.
Yeah,
I did.
And what else did I do for them? Last thing I did for them was my Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth.
All right.
I think that's the last bus I did.
That's the last mask. Yeah, I think that's the last one I saw. I still have some of my some Dr. Phil busts from back in the day. Besides the Captive Wild Woman, I've got a Leprechaun and an Evil of Frankenstein, and you did some nice stuff back then.
The Leprechaun was really popular with the HMA guys. They really got him. They loved him.
Yeah, very cool piece.
And let's see, what else did I do? I did so many I can't remember. I did that Lestat back from the swamp, the withered one.
Mm-hmm. You did a Barnabas.
Yeah,
you did a Barnabas.
Yeah, I think Rhonda Underwood has the one that you painted up now, the Barnabas. I did, and she has the other Captive Wild Woman. I know that.
The other? You mean there are only two?
Only two in existence. Yeah.
Really? I did not know that. There's a math fact that I didn't know that you were able to bring up. I did not know that.
Cool. Carrie.
So like if I decide to sell mine, I should make like enough income to retire off of that sale, right?
I would hope so, but reality will be what reality will be.
Now, Why were there only? Did you mean to only make 2, or did the mold roll into oncoming truck traffic or something?
No, that's all. That's only a couple people wanted it. I mean, I traded a few polls, but only 2 were actually finished by me.
Oh, well now I finished the one that I got. Well, me and Laura.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, it really is. It's absolutely beautiful what you guys did with it.
Well, thank you. So how many do you think there are total in the known universe?
At the most 4.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's still rather rare when you consider there are 6.8 billion people on the planet, and only 4 of them have that mass. That's a little bit on the rare side, I think.
Yeah, there's lots of leprechauns out there. Probably about 15 of them, and that's about the most that I've ever.
To you, that's a lot.
Yeah.
To you, that's lots of leprechauns. 15.
Yeah, for me it is. But
I think most people would consider that to be a little bit of a limited edition. 15. That's not very many.
Well, it never was my full-time thing. I would just do them. You know, somebody had commissioned me to do a Danny DeVito penguin, and I did it. And there's only one of them in existence, and it's for the guy that got it.
Wow. And a lot of those molds were hurricaned away, basically, huh?
Yeah, I mean, our neighborhood was one of the ones that got flooded out. So
I remember reading about that. That is really a tragedy.
They floated on down to the bayou and probably are in the Gulf of Mexico someplace, stained with BP oil.
I wouldn't doubt it. Man, I can't even imagine. You poor guy. That must have been just the most upsetting thing.
Well, just getting...
You must have thought you were in a living nightmare when that happened.
Yeah, for 3 weeks we had no power. And
it was just, God.
And of course, the seasons down here are hot and hotter, so it was pretty rough. But
God, I get upset if I have to go 3 hours without power. I don't know what I'd do.
Well, it's
horrible.
If your air conditioner goes out down here, it can be very dire. So it was pretty rough. But
wow, you poor guy. I'm sorry you had to go through that. That's really horrible. That's so traumatic. I'm sorry that happened, but I'm glad you bounced back. You know.
Yeah, we got back on our feet and we got the studio somewhat back together. And what was really nice was the folks at the Alcone Company in New York. They gave us a huge discount on anything we needed to help us restock.
Who did you say, the Al Capone Company?
No, the Alcone, the Paramount Theatrical Supplies.
In
New York.
Doug's people.
Yeah, they gave us stuff at cost, anything that we needed to kind of restock, which was fantastic to help us get back on our feet.
That is.
And you know, and then of course we had sold the prosthetic line off to Ruby's, so that stuff is down in Mexico, so none of that was affected, and thank goodness, because that's real steady for us, the Real Effects stuff, which is now in its 10th year on the market.
Has it been 10 years? You know what? We're so old. It's horrifying how old we are. It's been 10 years, man.
Yeah, I know, 10 years. And the sales have never dipped. It's been steady. I can't believe it. It's been that steady for 10 years. So, and down here, there's some of it even in Walmart.
Yes, I've seen them. Does our friend Gruesome know who gave me the title of the Fiendish Dr. Phil?
I told him you did.
Yep.
I was the first one to call him that, but you know what? He didn't use it the way I used it. I spelled Fiendish with the PH and Phil with an F. Fiendish Dr. Phil, and he chose the correct spelling over my humorous delivery.
Yeah, what? He's a fraud, so you're not a fraud. So
yes, he's an imposter. He's an imposter for Zulu.
Hey, Phil, Dr. Phil, do you want to mention about your other line, the Creepy Features?
Well, what we've done this year for the Zombie Walk folks is created the foam latex kit. A couple different zombie things. We're doing it at creepyfeatures.com. I still have a few things left. If anybody's looking for a cool zombie thing for Halloween or for the zombie walks that are coming up, just and if you need it rushed, please let me know when you order it that you need it rushed. Don't contact me, a week later saying where's my thing, because it says 3 to 4 weeks delivery on the thing for standard delivery. So just if you let me know, I'll get it to you when you need it. Otherwise, I don't know. So there it is.
There you go.
Phil, you're old enough to know by now. Every order is a rush order. Don't you know that?
I used to have this one guy when he would order a bus from me. He'd slip in an extra 20 so I could bump him up in the edition.
Oh my gosh! I've never had anybody do that. I don't think, but yeah, I get the orders from people who say, "Oh, whenever you can get to it, it's no hurry. Just whenever you can do it." And I say, "Okay, thank you." And then 2 days later, "Hey, you working on my thing yet?"
Yeah.
A lot of those guys. But
where is it?
Everybody's excited to see their mask.
Right. Yeah, because they want to play with it.
They don't like to be kept in suspenders too long because they're all excited to see it. And
Dr. Phil, there's also news about Renfield on the indie slate. Do you want to mention that?
Right. We got the cover of the new Indie Slate magazine, which is the magazine for indie filmmaking. And the cover is part of the poster. And Melissa wrote the article that's in it. It's 2 pages with a lot of photos, and it details the saga of how it went from us getting contracted to do the makeup effects for a stage production of Dracula, which I wound up getting cast as Renfield in because nobody else was scary. They were all being stupid, and I couldn't stand that. So I got up and read, and did a little Dwight Fry in there and scared the crap out of people. And all of a sudden, there I am as Renfield in this thing, and it occurred to me while I was doing that role, hey, there's more to this. So I wrote my thing, and we self-financed the movie, and it details all the things we went through, trying to raise the money, to having this Nigerian guy say he's going to finance it, and then backing out the day the money's due, and all that kind of stuff. So it's the whole 5-year process of having the idea and then finally getting it to the premiere and winning the awards that we won at the World Fest.
Well, I hope it takes off for you and becomes a video game and a breakfast cereal and a road paving compound and toothpaste and a cartoon show, and maybe you could be the next one. You could be the next one. That would be all over the place. That'd be great.
Well, it's a 1980s full moon Empire Pictures type thing. I mean, it's not, and anybody that's not expecting that is going to not like it. But if you're expecting that kind of horror, practical creatures and just a crazy, crazy guy, because Renfield is absolutely insane, and he actually kills more vampires than humans in this, so it's pretty fun.
Dr. Phil,
well, that is the kind of thing I like. I tell everybody. Let's tell everybody right now. Support indie horror. Thank you.
Well, we did something that's never been done. We did a spider vampire in this one.
Well, Dr. Phil, I'm gonna detest something that you said. Anybody who doesn't like Renfield are idiots. Now, I told you why. I hate vampire movies. I hate Dracula movies. And I loved Renfield for the simple fact is, Dr. Lady, if you have to see this. If you see Phil playing Renfield, he did a fantastic performance. I said it in my review, and I'll keep saying it. You have to see it because the character of Renfield in this reminds me of...
To this day, after all these years, Laura and I still watch some kind of horror movie almost every night. We do. This kind of became a tradition years and years and years ago, and we still do it. We kind of call it a day about 9 o'clock, and we put some DVD or other in and watch some horror movie. And, of course, since we do that every night, it's kind of hard to keep us supplied in stuff we haven't seen before.
Right.
Luckily, I have friends who send me, DVDs of cool, scary, silly things to watch. So you never get tired of it, or we haven't yet anyway. But I will definitely look for that. I don't know if it will make it to. Now, will that be in Family Video and Blockbuster and those places?
It's being released by R Squared, and if you can't get it there, it's for pre-sale now on Amazon.com.
I dropped the pipe from the name apparently. Okay, well I will look there for it then.
Yeah, I'll email you some links and some pictures from the movie.
Even better, yes, you should.
Yep.
I thought I had, but maybe I left you off the mailing list for some reason. But I'll hook you up with all the vampy goodness.
Probably my past behavior, some incident. He took me off the mailing list.
I knew that was coming.
It wasn't me.
Nice chatting with both of you again, and
awesome.
I'll have to let you guys go.
Thanks for tolerating us all this time.
Oh.
David, it was so great to talk to you again after a decade and a half or however long it's been.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you too, man. It's been entirely too long of a dry spell. It's good to be in touch with you again.
Awesome,
Glad
awesome.
Things are going better for you.
Yeah, they are. We're getting it back, and this Frankenstein thing, as you can tell, I'm really excited about doing it. I got Dracula out of my system. It was my thing to make a Dracula movie all my life. I did it with Renfield. Now I'm ready to tackle Frankenstein, and we'll go from there.
Well, excellent. Thanks again, guys. Nice talking to you.
All right.
All righty.
And you guys take
Y'all
care
be
of yourself.
good.
Yep. Take care.
All right. Thanks for calling us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 Gruesome Herzog, the voice of horror.